If you haven't been to one of these before, we have these meetups roughly once a month in London. So we're Ethfinex, which we have both a centralized and a pseudo-decentralized exchange, Ethfinex Trustless. And we invite you to come and try them, but we particularly want to tell you, just before we introduce the speakers, about an event we're running at the end of, well, in mid-April, 13th of April, here in London. And it's a technical analysis training day. So if you consider yourself a bit of a trader and want to learn more and meet other traders, but also get trained by the Society of Technical Analysts here in London, then please do come along. It's going to be a really good event. And we've got tickets for about 100 or so it's relatively limited, but tickets are £120 and went on sale yesterday. So following that, we've got two really great projects coming to speak today. So we've got Chris, first of all, from MakerDAO, who's going to speak about all the things that they're doing there, and then also Makoto from Kickback, who's going to give the second presentation. So I think we can welcome on Chris and give a big round of applause.
Thanks very much. So yeah, I'm Chris from MakerDAO, one of the product managers there, mainly focused on the front end kind of products we do there. So if you've come across them, the CDP portal, the governance dashboards, we're going to go through some of them today. So effectively, what is Maker? Describe ourselves as transparent and sustainable finance. And today, really, I was going to talk to you about the three components of Maker, which is stablecoin DAI, the collateral loans or CDPs, and decentralized governance that we run through the MKR token. So just to show of hands quickly, who here knows anything about or knows about Maker? Might be a little bit of a... So, might be a bit basic for some people there, but just start off and introduce DAI. So DAI is a fully decentralized stablecoin, soft peg to the US dollar. So the soft peg is really important. So its target price is $1, but it's not always equal to $1 through a variety of market, like economics and so forth. So, but the important bit here is it's always backed by on-chain collateral. At the moment, this is just Ethereum or ETH. So for every dollar in existence, there is Ethereum locked into a smart contract behind it. So there's no US dollars in a bank account, there is no bank account. It's all on-chain, it's just smart contracts. Always over-collateralized. At the moment, it's 150% minimum. Today, I think it's around 320%. But it means that it's always at least 1.5 times the amount of collateral in US dollar terms compared to the amount of DAI in circulation at any one time. And it runs on the permissionless credit system, what we refer to as the DAI credit system, which is a super brief overview of DAI. So why stablecoin? What do you use stablecoin for? Why is it needed? So, in our view, a stablecoin is needed for the mainstream adoption of cryptocurrencies. Everybody knows how volatile almost every other cryptocurrency is out there, from Bitcoin to ETH to any other token out there. They go up, they go down. You would never want to accept them as a business or as a person for any services, because today, what you sell a service for £1,000 or dollars could well be tomorrow worth $2,000. Or likewise, you might have sold it a product for $1,000 and now it's only worth $500 in a week. So businesses and individuals require that stable medium of exchange. And that's why we have DAI, this on-chain decentralized stablecoin. So how does DAI remain stable? So I talked about it being that soft peg, and it kind of fluctuates between maybe 98 cents and $1 too. Generally, we try and keep it there. Market economics help keep the price around that $1 mark, either through market makers and arbitrage opportunities, buying and selling DAI for a profit ultimately. We also have something called a stability fee, which we're going to touch on a little bit later. But I just want to introduce right now, within the CDPs and the loans that we have, a lot of you put your hands up familiar, so I think you know what I'm talking about here, but the stability fee is effectively a lever we have to increase the interest rate ultimately on our loans we have. Increase the interest rate, in theory, lowers the demand of DAI, lowers the supply of DAI on exchanges, pulling the price back down if it goes above $1. Decreasing the stability rate, decreasing the stability fee, hopefully brings that USD price back up again of DAI. And ultimately, the reason they're growing stable is the over-collateralization of the assets backing it. So should anything bad happen, should the attack on the system, should we find a bug, we can shut the system down, but it's always enough collateral within the smart contracts to repay the DAI holders, to repay the CDP holders, the collateral they put in, and any DAI that they have. So importantly, where does DAI come from? We don't just create DAI out of thin air. DAI has to be, can only be generated by opening a CDP, or a collateralized debt position. All the DAI in circulation is backed by collateral. There is no backdoor, there is no central authority, there is no single person that can generate DAI in any way other than using a CDP or a collateral loan. We're getting super close to that now. So at present, we touched on the minimum threshold for each CDP is 150%. This means for every $1 you want to borrow from the CDP, you have to put at least $1.50 worth of Ethereum into the smart contract. Right now, we've got about 320% collateralization. This means about $3.20 of Ethereum for every DAI in circulation. And this is how we keep it stable. So what is a CDP? A CDP is a collateral loan, very similar to a secured loan or mortgage. If any of you have got a mortgage or bought a home through a mortgage, you know that you borrow the money from the bank a little bit less than the value of your home. The reason for that is if the bank need to sell your property because you fall behind on your repayments, they have some collateral in order to recover all that debt. The DAI drawn from the CDP can be seen as the debt against the locked collateral. So the only way to get back your collateral, which always remains yours, is just locked up within the smart contracts of MakerDAO. You have to repay that DAI plus whatever outstanding interest fee you have. So you can get access to that whenever. You borrow DAI, there are no repayment terms. You don't have to pay back a certain amount each month. You can keep it for a day, a year, 30 years. The only difference being is the stability fee, the interest rate at the end, is going to be that little bit higher. The only consequence of this is, if you don't keep your collateral topped up to a certain level, at the moment it's 150% ratio, as soon as it goes below that, so should the price of Ethereum at the moment drop, and it goes below 150%, Maker liquidates your collateral automatically to cover any of your bad debt, and you pay a 13% penalty for that as well. So you've got to keep an eye on it. It's not a loan that you can just sit back, put in, and forget about it for 5 years. The way volatility works at the moment is you're most likely to come back and you'll see it be liquidated. So, opening CDP, that collateral loan. Anyone can open a CDP. There are no restrictions. There's no KYC, there's no AML. Simply head to any of the CDP portals out there. We have our own one at Maker, the cdp.makerdao.com, or we have CLI tools or an SDK if you want to interact with it that way around. And likewise for that, we're also actively encouraging community projects to build on top of our system. The ultimate aim of Maker is to eventually really have no UIs at all, run by the team, and actually all be community. It's just a decentralized DAI credit system. So, we're going to try doing a very quick live demo of CDP portal to show you how it works. So, this is it. First time users, you come in, you select the wallet. We have no open CDPs. Just going to do this in Koban as well, so it's super quick. So we're going to open the CDP. You're going to decide how much ETH you want to lock up. We've got 1.4 ETH in the wallet at the moment, so let's just lock up 1 ETH. And then we want to generate DAI. Can you see that? So it says here the maximum DAI we will generate is 91.5 DAI. We would never ever recommend generating the maximum amount of DAI from a CDP. Reason being, if ETH just drops the tiniest little bit in price, then your CDP is going to immediately be liquidated. You're probably looking at that within 10 minutes or so. Generally, as a rule, we try and say we get at least 200%, but as I touched on at the moment, across the market, the average is around 320% ratio. So, we're going to draw 50 DAI, we're going to accept the terms and conditions, and we're going to create a CDP. And that's pretty much it. It is now just creating the CDP. It's just a single transaction. And yeah, I mean, we'll come back to that in a few seconds if we need to. So look at it. But we'll just touch on the next slide. So it demo work. So why generate DAI? Why have DAI? Why hold DAI? So DAI has many use cases. We've actually got one developer within the Maker team at the moment that bought his car using a DAI loan instead of traditional car finance. So you can pay for services or products while never having to sell your collateral. If you believe in the underlying collateral or ETH at the moment, you don't want to get rid of that ETH, but you want to be able to free up some liquidity for it. You can lock the ETH in the CDP, draw the DAI, pay for the product or service that you want, and slowly just repay that CDP while continuously being able to unlock the collateral. If you truly believe in ETH at the moment, you can leverage using the CDP portal. So you can generate DAI from your CDP like we've just done. You can go to an exchange like Ethfinex. You can buy more DAI. Buy more ETH with that DAI, lock that ETH up into the CDP again, generate more DAI, go back to the exchange, buy more ETH, come back, lock up that ETH, generate more DAI, and you're effectively now hedging or leveraging against that ETH. The other way to use it is you can profit from the demand and oversupply of the DAI market. So when the price is greater than one DAI, you can generate DAI from your CDP, and it's important to note here that DAI generated from your CDP is always equal to the target price. So we don't use any price fees to choose how much DAI you get from your CDP. You get $1 of DAI for every DAI that you generate. Does that make sense? So you generate DAI from the CDP if it's great, if the price is currently trading above $1, and you sell it for a profit on exchanges. Simple. If the price drops below $1, you can buy the DAI back on exchanges, repay your CDP, and use the excess to sell again once it goes back above $1. So there are many use cases other than just the most common, and that is effectively giving ordinary people the power to use cryptocurrencies to pay for services and products on-chain. So we touched on liquidations. Just see if that is... Okay, so there is the CDP we have. So just before we touch on liquidations, I'm just going to go through the CDP portal and have a look at what it is. So currently, we can see here we've deposited 1 ETH. We've generated 50 DAI. We can still generate up to 41.5 DAI. But we can still withdraw 0.45 ETH as well. But again, you would never withdraw to your limit because then you're effectively putting your CDP in the hands of the market prices. This is the important bit, though, the liquidation price. This is what you can keep an eye on and kind of remember when you're using the CDP portal. Once ETH hits $74.99 or just below, your CDP will be liquidated. It happens effectively automatically. You can be bitten by anybody. Anyone of you can buy a CDP and you effectively buy the full ETH. There is that 13% liquidation penalty. So if you just come back to...
How do you know the price of Ethereum then? Do you have like an oracle that's like an index of loads of exchanges or...?
Yeah, so we have a number of oracles running, collecting the price of ETH, MKR, and through those oracles it goes to a medianizer, and we average out base. And there is a small delay, particularly once we come onto it in the future, because when we launch the next version of DAI, there's going to be a 1 hour delay as well. So you're actually going to be able to kind of know what's happening with the price of Ethereum. So you've almost got 1 hour to get out if you know the price is dropping as well. There's a slight safeguard there.
Do you always liquidate all of the position or just appear to cover the differences?
No, the whole position is liquidated. So so as much collateral is effectively sold in order to cover the debt and the 13% penalty. So from that 1 ETH we committed, you might get back maybe like 0.1, 0.15 left over at the end. So you do get back what's left. We don't just take everything, but enough to cover the debt. If the price of Ethereum is dropping quickly, then we'll see more of it's going to go, and the 13% fee, which helps running costs.
Where exactly do you sell the ETH?
Where do we sell it?
How do you sell it?
So in the current version, it's you can actually show you an example of how you would buy it, but generally it's just keepers, bots running on the network, scanning the network, biting CDPs and buying it with preloaded money in there within the contracts. Or for instance, you can buy it on the DAI.MakerDAO.com, DAI dashboard, what we call it. And if there is any PETH available, you can buy PETH with DAI here. But that will only be available once liquidations are kind of in progress. The second version, multi-collateral DAI, which is coming out soon, that's auction-based. So whenever a CDP gets bitten, it goes into an auction, which lasts maybe up to around 3 days, and requires new bids at least every 3 hours before it closes early. But that will effectively be a forward and reverse auction. So the collateral will go up for sale, and increasing amounts of DAI will be bid for that collateral until it hits the limit of debt that it's needed for, including the liquidation penalty, and then it will effectively go in reverse. So then the amount of collateral that's actually being asked for will decrease. You'll bid decreasing amounts of collateral for the fixed price of DAI. Now, because you only need a certain amount of DAI to cover the debt.
Who runs the keepers?
Anybody can run a keeper. So we have code on our GitHub.
Yeah.
I think they're in Python a lot of the time.
Do you have to pay gas to run the keepers?
You would have to pay gas for the transactions, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happens after the Oracle trips the price if you can't sell for 100%? I appreciate there's 50% margin.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. That's what the 50% margin is almost for. And that's why almost we will give you back whatever collateral is left, if there is any left.
And if it's less than 100% at sale?
So if we can't cover all of the debt, there's ultimately, in the current version, single collateral DAI, the CDP holders take on that risk. You can see on, here, let's start that. There's a PEF to ETH ratio. Let's look into this. At the moment it's showing on the ground, on here. If we switch to mainnet, I think it's about 1.036. So that means that actually, as a CDP holder, you actually get back. If you lock up your collateral, you're taking the risk of the system. But if you keep your collateral locked into the CDPs, and as that ratio slowly climbs, you actually get slightly more ETH back than you put in. So the conversion between pooled ETH and ETH comes back. So ultimately, if we have any bad debt, that ratio will go down. And if it goes below 1, or below the ratio where you actually opened your CDP, you would actually get back less collateral than you put in.
So the community takes the risk of
the CDP holders take the risk, yeah. In multi-collateral DAI, it works slightly different. MKR holders take the risk. So in the MKR token, there's a fixed supply of 1 million tokens. Should any bad debt occur, and we can't cover the bad debt through the auction phase, more MKR will be minted, sold through a separate auction until we cover the bad debt.
It's just inflation and you lose that.
Yeah.
How much MKR did Andreessen for this one?
I don't know the actual number.
60,000.
60,000.
If I liquidate at $75,
Sorry?
if my CDP got liquidated at $75,
Yeah.
and I borrowed only 50 DAI,
Yeah.
what happens to the 25 DAI? Exactly where it is spent?
So liquidate at $75 and you have that 1 ETH as collateral.
Yeah.
So we would, and you have $50 of debt, we would just sell enough ETH to cover the $50 plus 13% as a penalty, and then give you back whatever collateral you have left. And when we say give you back, it would just be in here. So you would now have effectively no DAI generated, probably a tiny little bit of DAI to generate, and just a tiny little bit of ETH that you can now withdraw, and just a notification here saying you got liquidated, when you got liquidated, and the price you were liquidated at.
Is there a cap on the stability fee? And also, I noticed it's 2.5%. I thought it was like 1.5%.
So this is Koban. So it's just on the Koban testnet.
Oh, okay, right.
So I mean we can switch to the mainnet and we see the live figures.
I thought it was about 1.5.
So at the moment it's 1.5. So in the last 2 weeks, we've actually had 2 votes recently to increase it by 0.5%. And we'll come on to that in decentralized governments. But
So I think at the moment it's kind of ranged from like 0.5 to 2.5, but is there a cap? Could it go beyond 2.5%?
yeah, there is no cap. It can go as high as needs be to keep the price of DAI stable. The only stability fee is only there to keep the peg close to $1 as possible. It's not there for any raising money for MKR token holders. It's not there to penalise people or anything like that.
So how does the stability fee actually work?
So effectively, the stability fee is interest rate on loans. So if you borrow 100 DAI and it's at 1.5%, after 1 year, your fee is effectively going to be 1.5 DAI extra. So you owe 101.5 DAI. It's ever so slightly more than that because it's continuously accruing on the debt. But yeah, read it as an interest rate. So the idea there was for people to buy DAI on exchanges and repay their CDPs and close their CDPs, thus taking DAI out of circulation and hopefully taking some of the oversupply off the exchanges. Didn't have much impact. However, last week we had another vote to raise it by 0.5% again through our decentralized governance voting, which I can give you a quick, we can show you what that looks like. And now DAI is roughly trading around $1 again. So this is where you would use your MKR token. So this is where we're at the moment. It's a continuous voting process, or continuous approval voting process. So we have MKR locked up into something we call DSG, which is our voting contract. And effectively, MKR is protecting the system against attack at any one time. So currently we have 107,000 MKR supporting this proposal to keep the stability fee at 1.5. Once you move forward and kind of become more decentralized, anybody who has MKR can create new proposals, can create a proposal to increase the stability fee, create a proposal to decrease the stability fee, create a proposal to add new token, and everything is done through MKR token holders. Ultimately, all that has to happen is more MKR has to go onto the new proposal than that's on the current governing proposal in order to be executed. As soon as it has that more MKR on it, the code can be executed and the change is made automatically in the system. Again, there's nobody sat behind the scenes waiting to see if the MKR vote passes and then they go and change something. There is nobody with that central authority.
Why did you choose the dollar in terms of trying to pay?
Originally it wasn't a dollar. Originally it was some
SDR.
Dollar. Yeah.
So the SDR makes more sense.
Yeah. And maybe longer term it might go back to that. So the idea is, you may have seen Ruben talk about on Reddit quite a lot, but the idea is to have some synthetic DAI afterwards in multiple different currencies. Now whether that base currency is still USD and then everything falls down from that, or whether we're going to move back to like the DSL time, you could. The SDR. SDR, yeah.
What is SDR?
It's a special drawing rights. It's a basket of currencies.
It's yen, dollar, yuan, pound and euro, with like a weighting to them all where like dollar is more representative than say pound. And so it would be the most stable currency in the world. It's like this index from the International Monetary Fund, IMF.
It's basically DAI, but using real.
So that was like Rune and Nikolai's original vision, that they would make the most stable currency in the world essentially. But then it was simplified later to just be a dollar peg token, because that's how our industry kind of works. Yeah. I still want my SDR though.
Yeah, but from a user adoption point of view, try to explain that to every other user.
Yeah.
You just taught me. So for adoption's sake, US dollar was the easiest one to peg against. Many currencies are pegged against it, and everybody understands.
Sorry, is voting weighted?
Voting is weighted only by how much MKR you have. So if
you've got a few token holders who've got a lot of MKR, then a lot of the smaller token holders probably think it's not worth voting. So how do you get around the larger token holders?
Can I ask that, Chris?
So
what's the participation rate of holders as well in votes?
we've got about 15% of total MKR locked up into voting, which is a lot lower than we want.
Is that 15% of addresses that hold Maker, or 15% of Maker hold?
15% of MKR.
So how many actual people voted is that? Because I'd imagine it was quite small then.
I think it's 50 or 60 in the last vote.
So how, I guess companies like Arrow are kind of doing stuff around this as well, right? But how, in the future, is that the way it's going to be done, or it's going to be, I guess, a bit more democratic?
No, I think in the future we are changing it slightly for the next version, but ultimately pretty much remaining the same. But you're right, we have a huge education piece, I think, really, to understand, the logic of people to why they should put MKR onto the system. Because ultimately the reason is you would put MKR onto the system to protect it against an attack. So if lots of those little MKR holders put it on here, it makes it far harder for somebody else to attack the system.
Yeah, I guess the problem is if you look at the wallets and where Maker's held, you might have 50 or 60 addresses, say, which hold the majority of the Maker tokens.
Yeah.
So you're always going to be in a scenario where those token holders are always going to win the vote.
So one thing we're actually looking at the moment is proxy voting. So where if you don't have a lot of MKR, but yet you might be a very active community member and you have a very, specialized skill set, like you really understand risk, but you don't have a whale in the crypto community, so you don't have a lot of cryptocurrency. We're allowing for, or looking at the idea of allowing people to vote based on how much people vote. So for example, if you become a very reputable figure in the risk community, but you don't have much MKR, other MKR holders who trust your opinion and you align with philosophically can then mimic the vote that you make. So therefore we then allow for these kind of groups of specialized people to sort of form their own communities within themselves. So other people can then basically vote. So you might not necessarily be able to vote, but you could then command like a significant portion of voting power based on your like in ways in the community.
These are really interesting questions, but in the interest of time, I think we should finish the presentation and then see if we've got time for questions at the end.
Sorry.
And then we're going to time to discuss that.
All right, well, we're pretty much done. So the MKR token, just finally, one slide pretty much. The MKR token is also used to pay for the stability fees that we touched on before. And the reason for this is you pay your stability fee in MKR, so you can pay it in DAI, but it immediately gets converted to MKR. But that MKR is then burned. So over time, the supply of MKR is going to decrease, and in theory, increase the value of MKR. To date, around 500 MKR has already been burned, which I think is awesomely similar. It's still in beta, technically. And yeah, so the future. So we talked about it briefly a couple of times. Today, only, let's say Ethereum, can be used as underlying collateral for CDPs. We are soon launching multi-collateral DAI with many more on-chain collateral types. Maybe ERC20s, security tokens, NFTs, you name it. With multi-collateral DAI also comes savings DAI. So this is one of the big things as well, where actually you'll be able to earn interest on the DAI you hold. And that interest will be effectively dictated by what stability fees are based on the underlying CDPs. And that's it. If you want to find out more, these are the links. I can share them with you later, or if you're sending the presentation around, anything like that. The main one there, I think, is the Reddit, and if any of you want to be involved in our chat, it's chat.makerdao.com, where the entire team and the community discuss various bits. And that's it.